All
right, here we are. End of the road, fellas. 11 tournaments on the 2024 Bravery circuit. Here we are. I can't believe we're still standing. I actually we're not standing. We're sitting, and I think that's with the little strength I have left from the season. I might be laying down on the floor shortly. It's been a long year, but a fun year. We got the Battle in Seattle. This is an annual tournament that we've had, a really fun one to finish out. We've run it for a lot of years. Super excited to have it. Got Brandon Huffman from 247 Sports with me. Got Ryan Clary. Ryan doesn't even have a description with it. He's just the GOAT overall. Ryan is known as the GOAT anywhere he goes now. So, fellas, fun to have you guys with me for this episode, this podcast, our last one. We'll be doing some for our Avery Strong College Showcase that's happening Sunday, June 2nd. But finishing out this one with our 7-on and 5-on circuit. Just real quick before we hop into the teams, Huff, tell me your thoughts, just the overall year on the circuit real quick, and then Ryan can get your thoughts, and then we'll jump into this.
The greatest thing that I have been able to say is this is the last 7-on-7 tournament for me as well. You know, not just the tour, but all the national events I went to. And then we dive right into college showcases. We've got all of June where there's camps and events. We got the Avery Strong Showcase next weekend. I am ready for 7-on to be done, and I am ready to watch these events where college coaches are there really dictating the future of these players. So I'm ready for it to be done. And it's not that I'm anti 7-on-7. I just really like the showcases. And again, I'm a tight end who played in the Veer TV. I'm a guy who wants to block, and I love we get some 5-on-5 to add some spice to the weekend. So sadly, it's the last 5-on-5 of the year as well. But I'm ready to see the big boys have their time these next couple months.
Definitely. RC?
I think for me, it's seeing the 8th graders in that next group of kids that are coming up. And then finding the gems for these teams that, you know, may have not heard a little bit about, and then actually getting to see them live and in person. Because when you talk to college coaches, one of the big questions is, have you actually seen the person? And it's like, for most of these kids, you can say yes then. So I think it's a good opportunity for these kids to get out and get seen.
Well, and to put a cap on it, what I'm excited about is what all these kids have been doing in 7-on and 5-on. Now they get to go do in the showcase. And you can't tell me that kids that have been doing 7-on and 5-on these last few months compared to kids that have not don't have a huge advantage going into these showcases and college camps. They just do. It's like a kid playing pickup basketball every day for 4 months, or a kid that doesn't, and now they go try out for a team. Which kid do you think has the advantage? Obviously the one that's been playing. So let's hop into this. We've got a good list of programs, a good sized tournament here for our last one here at Kamiak High School. Shout out to Coach Ivan for helping facilitate this. So to talk a couple of the youth programs, we've got Air Saxons. I love it, coming up from Salem for the 3rd, 4th grade division. They came up to our battle in Bothell. Coach Rosales does a really good job. They've started traveling now. They started out local and they kind of caught the bug, and they're traveling more. So love seeing them come up. One of the teams and programs I'm most excited to see this whole weekend, Benson Bruins. Chris Valla and his group putting together the Benson Bruins program. They've grown it to multiple teams at different age divisions. They've been crushing it on the circuit, I think in the Washington Farm League and some others. This is their first one in our circuit, so I'm really excited to see them hop in here. I believe they got a team in the 3rd, 4th grade division and the 5th, 6th grade division, so really excited to see them in this one. We've got FA Alphas based out of Bothell. Jory Fogerson does a really, really good job with them. One of the good dudes in this industry. Excited to see that program continue to grow. They've done a lot of our circuit this year. We've got ASYS coming out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Corey Philpott and that group. They just had an 11-on-11 tackle team come down and play air, I believe last weekend over at Lincoln High School. They've got their 7th, 8th grade team coming, so that's the future of ASYS. Excited to see them. We've got Spokane Football Club and this is Mark Killian out of Spokane, Washington, bringing his 7th, 8th grade team. They actually represented really well at Battle in Bothell. Excited to see them again and watch him grow that program out east. 2 other programs I want to mention real quick. We got Black Ops. This is a 3rd, 4th grade team that has kind of peeled off out of other programs. And you've got, I believe it's Manny Mora putting it together and does a really good job with them. They won a tournament earlier this year. And then we've got Dogs Only out of Spokane, Washington. Coach Vinny putting that group together. They've got a 3rd, 4th, and a 5th, 6th grade team. So they're coming out, they're going to compete, have some fun. And then actually Timberline joined our circuit last tournament, and now they've got 2 teams in this tournament. So excited to see Timberline Blazers come and represent. So enough from me on some of those programs. Let's let you guys talk. The reason people are listening in. Let's jump right to you and talk about Wipe Me Down Boys. They came out last tournament, won the tournament, crushed everybody, dominated in 7-on, 5-on looked really good, didn't win it, but weren't fully loaded. I think they will be this weekend. But talk about the Wipe Me Down Boys, the kids on that team, some of the backgrounds and your thoughts on them.
Yeah, I mean, they are a super intriguing team. Obviously, they're going to be down a couple of guys, at least on Saturday, because they're state qualifiers. With the state track meet this weekend, you know, the Beaner twins, Brock and Brady Beaner, 2 of the top 15 players in the state of Washington, will be gone. But there's plenty of talent on that squad. One of my favorite players in this class in 2025 is Bryce Smith out of Bellevue High School. I know, like with the Beaner brothers, Bryce is a big-time target of Boise State. And, you know, we've said for years that Boise State does not recruit like they're a group of 5 program. They recruit like they're a Power 5 program. They're, you know, not unlike Gonzaga, where they go up and gets big boys and they don't care. And I think they're doing really well with Bryce. They also have Riken Moon, who, you know, is the son, like he's in the fraternity. He's like with Jameson Barton, the son of Husky quarterback, Warren Moon. But Riken is a kid that I really like him as a defensive player. I think that he's got a high ceiling as a safety. I know he likes running back, but, you know, his ball skills are tremendous. I was at the game last year, Bellevue against Arlington, you know, where Bryce kind of went off, but then Riken had a big day defensively. So, you know, those are 2 guys that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Landon Renfro, the quarterback out of Eastlake High School, another guy that, you know, is got a chance to continue to rise. You know, it's interesting. There's not a quarterback in the state of Washington right now that's got an FBS offer, you know, which is really interesting when you consider some of the guys that have come through this state in the last years. You know, there's only one FCS offer out right now, and that's in the 2025 class, I'm saying. So Renfro could put himself into position with this spring of potentially landing some of those offers. You've got the Curtis guys, Xavier Aarons and Parker Mady. So a lot of talent. Henry Gabales, I had a Power 5 coach hit me up this week. I know Ryan is plenty familiar with him being at Archbishop Murphy, but I had a Power 5 coach hit me this week saying, hey, Henry Gabales is a real dude. So, you know, somebody that's definitely worth watching in that 2026 class. Jack Sievers, another guy that I'm excited to see. I haven't seen him this spring at all because I know he was working his way back. So a lot of talent that one of the big draws up there is to get up there and see the Wipe Me Down guys. So I got a chance to see them at one of their first workouts back in January. Now I get to see them after they're on the circuit.
Yeah, competing. Landon Renfro, couldn't believe how big he was when I saw him. I had worked with him when he was, you know, a middle schooler and hadn't seen him in person for a lot of years, and then saw him. I'm like, whoa, this is a grown man now. He's a big dude. Throws really nice. So I'm excited for him also to at our Avery Strong showcase to get in front of these schools and for a lot of these kids to show them what they can do, because I think a lot of offers are going to go out. A lot of kids are going to move up radars. Ryan, turning it to you, a couple programs to talk about. Let's jump into it. Talk about Gridiron, based out of Tacoma. DeQuinn Evans running that program, and then Seattle United, Chase Crappie and Courtney Sanders running that program, really growing it over the years.
Yeah, with Gridiron, I think they're led by 3 kids that all go to the same high school, Franklin Pierce. Tayshawn Wood, who I saw last weekend, is a safety corner prospect. Jeremiah Orcutt, who we've all known for a couple years now, has a chance. And then they have a 3rd kid, Anthony, I'm going to butcher this probably, Anthony LaLamiga. He's like a slot receiver type that I really liked. And then bouncing over Seattle United, they have a kid who just got to Ingram, Deshaun Porter, who was at West Seattle last year. And then as well, they have another kid, a freshman at Bellevue, who they call Mo. who has a chance to be pretty good.
Nice. Speaking of pretty good, Huff, let's bounce it back to you. War, Rob Mason running this program. They're a middle school team, but they got some dudes with offers. So talk a little bit about the War program and some of those kids.
Yeah, one of the most intriguing incoming freshmen this fall will be AJ Tuivai, who's going to Graham Kapowski. They've had a decent little run at quarterback these last couple of years. You had Dylan Morris, who started for a couple of years at Washington. Now he's at James Madison. Then you had Josh Wood, who was the Gatorade Player of the Year in 2021, who, Northwest Showcase shout out. That was his real coming out party going into his junior year. Davion Superalice had to take over for Josh Wood. It was really good. He's at Montana State now. So AJ will come in and potentially, put himself in line for the starting job as a freshman. May have to wait, but he's already got a couple of offers, Arizona State and Miami, before he started high school. There's been a lot of quarterbacks in this state in the last few years that have gone on to Division I, but I think the last time you had a quarterback who started high school with offers was probably Cole Welliver, and he ended up ultimately in the state of Texas. But Jacob Eason, Sam Heward, none of those guys had offers until after their freshman season. So AJ is kind of in rare air. Sione Kaho, another kid who got offers after freshman, didn't have them before. So AJ's kind of in rare air.
Yeah, I love that program. Rob Mason, one of the all-time GOATs, just a great guy, does a really good job with his kids. That 7th, 8th grade division is going to be super competitive this weekend. Air, Reggie Jones, based out of Puyallup, bringing his Air Apex Predators, who have really not lost, I don't think, in the Northwest to anyone. So that's a really loaded division we're going to see. Ryan, couple final programs for you to talk about. ETA, Michael Bumpus, John Thompson running that program based out of Monroe. Talk a little bit about that program, some kids, and then go back to that middle school program, Boom, who won our last tournament, led by Jordan Meese, Brian Meese running it. Talk about those two real quick.
Yeah, ETA is led by Bothell High School quarterback Jalen Viars, big-bodied kid who has the ability to run and throw. His go-to guy is Junior Vargas. He's a 2026 out of Sultan, who I've seen quite a bit, but especially remember him in Ellensburg when it was like, we knew he was getting the ball, the defense knew he was getting the ball, and he still would get it. So I'm excited to see him this weekend to see who can stop him. And then going to middle school, speaking of middle schoolers with offers before high school, Titan McNeil recently has been offered by Miami and Cal. At quarterback, they have Jordan Meese. And then defensively, Scotty Dinwiddie. All three of those will actually end up going to Eastside Catholic next year and should vie for some playing time as freshmen.
And that's what's so cool is for us, we see these 7th and 8th graders and they start getting offers, or they're big time. We know they're going to get offers. And then all of a sudden as juniors and seniors, everyone starts hearing about them, knowing about them. And we've been seeing them for a lot of years. So it's one of the cool things of what we get to do and what we get to see. A couple other programs to mention. We got hype coming teams at all levels. J.R. Nelson does a great job out of Linden. Kamiak High School, the host program. Coach Ivan doing a great job. Got teams at multiple levels. IBC, Fui, Alex Fui bringing up his group out of Salem, Oregon. They got teams at all levels. Does a great job, just like Rob Mason, one of the good guys in this industry. Okanagan Football Club, Aldrich Barrios bringing a team out of Kelowna, BC. And then we got Wimberley coming up. Justin Wimberley out of Olympia runs a gym, got a high school and a middle school team. So should be fun. 5-on-5. I know we got Gridiron, IBC, White Me Down Boys. They got a lot of guys. Huff, you want to mention a couple guys real quick before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Josiah Aswinga again, who has been a guy that we loved him down in Canby. And top 10 player in the state of Washington, had freakish numbers at the Under Armour camp in Seattle, got his first offer from Montana, but this is a guy he's an FBS player. And I think as more teams see him, as more schools see him, he's a guy that, hopefully he comes to the Avery Strong Showcase next week and then really flourishes with those schools. South Kitsap's not the easiest school to get to, and I know that has probably hurt his recruitment a little bit. Not an underrated player at all. I saw a tweet saying he's underrated. You're a top 10 player with an FCS offer, not underrated. Definitely rated really well. Now, maybe under-recruited is probably a better way to describe him. But a guy that I think is, he kind of had his coming out party about 6 weeks ago down in Canby. You've got IBC. Malachi Sene, who is a little bit undersized, but got a great motor.
Yes.
Kid that just gets into the backfield. He's frustrating for offensive linemen to block. They probably think we've got the size advantage, and then he just dips underneath them and gets into the backfield. And then the Wipe Me Down boys, number 2 player in the state of Washington in 2026. Damod Lewis out of Bellevue. We've said for years that the guys at Bellevue just play at a different speed, different level. And, he's not your typical Bellevue kid. His brother, Damian Lewis, was an offensive lineman for the Seahawks, now playing for the Carolina Panthers. So he's got some good bloodlines. His brother was on the national championship team at LSU. Damod, super intriguing player. He likes tight end. I think he's a Division I defensive lineman. We've got him as a 4-star. His younger brother, Dago Lewis, 2027 at Bellevue. You've got Elijah Tucker, who's committed to Washington State. He was a problem at the Under Armour camp himself. Just, again, not the biggest guy, but just dips under offensive lineman, getting into the backfield. Hakeem Smalls, who I really like as an offensive lineman. He can probably play on either side of the ball. Nathan Thornton, speaking of Kitsap, he's at, I want to say, North Kitsap. Had a chance to see him 2 years ago against the Anacortes and the Beaner brothers in that game. And then, one of my favorite linemen in the Pacific Northwest period, Jake Normoyle, who is out of Westland High School, visiting Oregon State, I believe, next weekend for an official visit. You've also got Jack Beardall, who's committed to Southern Utah on the squad. And then you've got Brady Ackerman, who is out of Nooksack Valley. And you've got some talent kind of from up in the Whatcom County part of the state. So some really intriguing guys there too. And my first chance to see the Wipe Me Down linemen this year.
Yeah, super excited to see them. I think they're a favorite to win it, but Gridiron, the lineman with DQ, always a challenge. So going to be a fun tournament. Ryan, Brandon, both of you guys will be there in person. So for all the kids, it's your chance to ball out in front of these guys, get on radars, move up radars. Fella's going to be another fun weekend. Going to close it out, a fun one on the year, and then we'll close out with our Avery Strong Showcase next weekend. Appreciate you guys being on this podcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you this weekend.